Say happy Saturday, happy Saturn day. So I got a lot of really good feedback from yesterday, and that filled my heart so much. Not only because it really inspired others to get more vulnerable with the self-love, but also I had people explain to me that they really didn't understand what shadow work until I started sharing how I was doing my own shadow work. And hello, happy Saturday. So Saturday is the day ruled by Saturn. And Saturn is the energy of structure, but it can also represent resistance and guilt. So wherever Saturn is in your chart, it talks about how you process that and any resistance or guilt. Mine is in the body because it's in my sun house, which is Taurus. So my Saturn in Taurus, and that's how I process that energy. And I tend to really drive myself like a workhorse sometimes. So Saturn can perpetuate that energy, like fathering myself and bossing myself, I guess, is a better way to put it. So just be aware of those energies. And like I always say, one of the greatest life hacks is figuring out your own natal chart and where your own placements are, because it really is a blueprint for your human experience and how you process energies and emotions. And it really next levels your human experience because it helps everything smooth out a little bit when you understand, like, oh, okay, this is hardwired into my blueprint. Like, I chose this. I chose to be like a little dysfunctional in this area, or I chose to be like super hard-nosed in this area. So it may be harder for me to surrender and soften in this area, right? So those are deeper ways to look into that. So Cotton 241 says, I have Saturn and Jupiter together in 2 houses and still trying to figure them out. Those are really big energies. I mean, Jupiter and Saturn, those are huge energies. So yeah, have fun with that. Yeah, and Jupiter just moved into Pisces. So it also matters, like, where you have it in your chart, but then the motion of the planet, because those energies are going to influence where you have it in your natal chart, and they can stir shit up or smooth things out. I mean, it's always a play in your human experience. That's why retrogrades are important, because it's a reflection and really an opportunity to deeply heal, because retrogrades are really a gift, because anything that you really observe, excavate, and heal in a retrograde becomes like a permanent, and it really gets down into your cell memory, and that's powerful healing. So digging deeper in those areas is paramount, really, if you want to elevate yourself and really ascend quickly. And transcend these bodies eventually. That would be fucking phenomenal. So the Ascended Masters that I pulled for today, Radha talks about soul flame. So this is like deep love, intimacy, partnership. And so on the days that I didn't do, I think I shared it once on my videos, but on a couple of the days that I didn't share, I kept getting the Twin Flame card, but it's a different deck. So, and I talked about Twin Flame energy, that not everyone has one. It's a very intense energy, and so many people are like romanticizing the idea of twin flame that you actually reject partners that show up because you're like, oh no, this other person is my twin flame. And I'm like, the whole idea of the human experience is to stay radically present and to accept every experience that shows up, not to reject the experiences that show up. And Radha talks about that too. Like, okay, so who shall I meet? What is the newness? And the soul flame. So it talks about rediscovering lost parts of yourself, becoming whole with yourself. That is the most important part. So thank you, Cotton 241. And again, Archangel Haniel showed up. So what I actually did is looked up what moon phase we're in. We're in the crescent waxing, okay? Because I was like, there's got to be something more. Why does this keep showing up? And I don't want to remove it from the deck because I've done that, being snarky and tired of seeing the same motherfucker showing up again and again. So I took the card out of the deck, and then the universe was like, oh, really? And then he showed up in another deck, and I was like, oh, the humanity. So you have to pay attention when a card shows up. Like, I'm like, is it bent? What the fuck? Why does it keep? Because literally, if you saw how I shuffled my decks, you would be like, that's cray cray. It is cray cray. So, and Lisa's not on here. I was going to ask Lisa to share it with everyone on live. But if anyone is on this live and recommends a resource for moon cycles and the explanation of the energy for each moon cycle and healing, or digging in deeper, excavating self through moon cycles, please share that. And if it happens after the live, please send it to me in private message and I'll share it on a future video. So Haniel showed up again. I mean, and this is like multiple times because remember the other day she showed up in another card, and but it was still the same. So I started doing research on Haniel, and obviously that won't knit because she showed up again. So what I did is I looked up we are in the waxing crescent, right? So the energy of the waxing crescent is intention and manifesting, so that you also know what to heal. Hang on a second. Yes, Daniel, I'm doing my video. My son. Okay, so, hi babe. I'm actually doing my video. Can you show me after? Beautiful. Nice pants.
They're cotton, full 100%.
Kudos, babe. I love you. So the waxing crescent talks about intention. And so the waxing phase really is like the emotional buildup for the full moon. And the full moon I always use for release. But I know that each moon phase is very specific. So what I got from multiple sources is that it's about intention. So starting to create intention and practicality. So, and that's good because the breathwork group that I have today at the local studio is all about the manifesting and intention. So that's cool. And then Thoth shows up for me a lot. The writing, and I get it. I'm a poet. And this is like my self-therapy, and I don't tend to share it a lot, but I'm feeling the push to, and I know that that's also my human experience, that I am meant to share the things that I create. And so my writing is so personal. Sometimes it's like a little intense to share that stuff, but the stuff that I'm writing of late, it's a little angry. Let's see what was said here. My name is Louise. Thank you, Cotton 241 Louise. I had the same card for receiving several times. Yeah. Love that. Yes, being a mom doesn't stop. My son is 20, and you see he still had to, it doesn't matter how old they are, they still have to interrupt whatever the fuck you're doing because it's important. So he had to show me the pants he bought for himself. That was very important. So, and they're lovely pants. They're black, and they looked actually like joggers. So he's excited about his joggers. Anyhow. So those were the Ascended Masters that showed up for me today. The sacred geometry that showed up for me today is the transmutation, which is like the nucleus, the nuclear energy of us. And there is no reverse aspect, though this card did show up in the reverse. There is no reverse aspect for this card. And it talks about the imminent, explosive changes that I am going through, that I have to just be like, wee, instead of like, oh fuck. So yeah, I'm moving through that. And it's the double 4, which is huge synchronicity for me. So 4s show up a lot, and 4s are always about protection for me, and also pulling in all of the elements and the 4 corners, because I work very strongly with medicine wheel energy. Medicine wheel showed up yesterday. So the 44, I'm like, okay, thank you, thank you. And so clean it up showed up in the reverse. And this talks about tying up loose ends, but also cleaning in your space. So getting rid of things that you don't need, clutter. And for those who have been in my space, you know, like, I'm not anal about it, but I don't have shit in my environment. I don't have clutter. So in the reverse, I was trying to see the different aspects of that, like material things in my environment, clearing space. And I was like, okay, I've done that. But it also talked about cleaning up guilt and shame. And so guilt and shame is part about becoming whole. And I talked about it yesterday. I'm trying to see if I have that thing saved. No, I didn't. Okay. Anyway, but like the intention. So any guilt or shame is usually, it influences intent if you're coming from here. So yesterday, if you remember, I said anything, if you think before you act or think before you speak, you are actually holding people captive, and it's creating more illusion, right? So you have to feel and then speak, or feel and then act. And I feel that I do that. So I am going to look at my environment though. Like, are there things that I'm holding on to? Because it talked about holding on to things that have sentimental value, but you really need to let go of because they're creating energy. And so this would be one of them. But it's useful. So I'm like, I don't know if this is what it's referring to, if this is allowing an ex-partner to have energetic access to me because of this, because he made me this. So I will be meditating on that and asking spirit, because that I keep it near my altar, and that was the first thing that came in to my intuition when I was reading that. And so do you hold on to gifts that were given to you, like sentimental gifts, like the chest that I have my crystals stored in was made by an ex. It's beautiful artwork. And a crystal shelf was made by another ex. So, I mean, I'm not going to get rid of that shit, but if I need to cleanse it, I will. So that's what that card is. And it's a 21 card, by the way, and 21 is also the number that came up in this deck. And so repeating 21s, I'm going to have to look that up. I didn't look it up. If someone wants to look it up now, awesome. But I'm not going to stop the video and look it up. But passion showed up, and this actually has been showing up a lot for me as well. It's repeating. So to reread that, talking about not being afraid to create. And so I think that goes back to the Thoth, the writing, because so the passion of fire agate will help me move past the fear of sharing those deeper soul fragments of myself through my creations, because it's really harmless, right, to share the malas that I've made. It's really harmless to share my face and my own spreads. Well, it's not harmless, but I'm saying it's getting easier, right? It's easier to share those things. And it's okay to share, like one of my friends called it karaoke, like when I'm singing along with the music, or like when I'm dancing, right? Those are all the soul aspects of myself, but my writing is very personal. And so I tend to share less of that, but I'm getting pushed to share it more. So you will probably be seeing that. So this fire agate was actually gifted to me by beautiful Danny, my beautiful soul sister in Colorado, and Becca, my beautiful soul sister in Colorado. Becca was also my big sister in Atlantis. And so they sneakily ordered this for me and had beautiful Monica of Monica's Trinkets give that to me. And then Amanda Tovar, beautiful soul sister, actually harvested this herself in the desert here locally on one of her hikes. Also beautiful fire agate, a raw piece. So I have one free chant for my breath work tonight, because remember I said whenever I choose a stone, I use it in my breath work before I sleep. So the fire agate definitely will be used. And so Seraph of 963 hertz. I love this. This talks about the human experience. So I am a Taurus, Scorpio rising. It's very sensual, sexual energy. And I know that my aura can literally take up a room if I allowed it to. And like, that's the best part of being human for me, is the sensual and sexual nature of it. Like all the feels, like if it tastes good, if it feels good, if it smells good, all of that. That's my favorite part about being human. Like that ecstatic connection to all that is helps my spirit like bloom inside of me. And that's what this card talks about, that we actually need, because it is a rarity, that it needs to be shared so that others learn how to be human through their spirit. And it was like a light bulb moment for me, because the feedback that I get when I'm dancing, and also from my friends that share space with me when we eat, like I've had friends say, damn, I ordered the same thing. I don't think mine tastes as good as yours tastes, because I am like so radically present and unwaveringly like embodying spirit through my physical body, that just them watching me eat, it's like, why does that look so fucking delicious? And I'm eating the same thing. And it's because I am so engaged with what I'm doing. I'm not ever in my head. And I think that's why they're like, why when you walk in the ocean does it look so like peaceful? And why when I watch you dance does it actually calm me instead of excite me? Well, because I'm not in my ego. So of course it forces you to get out of your ego just to observe me. And I think that's what people aren't understanding when they share themselves on video. You're actually opening a portal of energy. And when you open that portal of energy to let people observe you, especially in deep healing space like this, it's really important to stay heart-centered and in your highest integrity. So I don't come ever and allow my altar, my sacred temple, to be observed in ego. And if I feel myself go in ego, I will always say, ooh, that was ego. And right away, interrupt that energy flow so that negative energy, malicious intent and energy does not have access to me. That's very important, especially for those of you who are on this live who create videos for yourself or share for your people. Anyhow, or share your works of art and all of that sacredness, your soul creations. It's important to create from here, not here, because then you're holding people captive and you're opening portals for yourself to be attacked through that energy. So, I feel like I talk so much sometimes. Anyway, so, the moon card that showed up for me was the conclusions are within reach. This is a very typical card for psychics to get, by the way, or like you know what to do, and because they don't want to give us too much information. What this really means is like surrender, let go of control. It's gonna happen. It's happening soon. Just like the transmutation, like this is very like explosive transmutation that you're moving through. Just ride it, you know? And then the eternal dance movement. And I love that this showed up because that is how I express joy and recalibrating myself, how I get my body, my soul all aligned is dance. And it just, because it feels so good. But I am definitely fully embodying my spirit and passion in dance. And so that's it for today. Any questions? Because I do have a few moments. Any people need suggestions how to move through things, or how I actually observe my poles and use them for myself? No? Okay, thank you for sharing this time and space with me. Your most valuable commodity. Believe me, it has not gone unnoticed, and I appreciate you all. Thank you. I love you. I love you. And please, I am sorry. I am so sorry for any disharmony that I myself have created. Please forgive me. Thank you for this opportunity. I love you. I love you. I love you.